Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and today it's 2023's first Fantasy Baseball mock draft of the season. Oh, can you feel it? The electricity in the veins. It is flowing here at Fantasy Pros. Our draft simulator is open for business, and so is the multi-user draft software. That means you can draft with your friends. You can create private mocks, send them. If you don't have friends, make some friends, send them to your enemies, and you can start getting prepared. And today we're going to do a head-to-head roto category style mock draft. The Welsh is here as always, and Ryan Wormeli, the worm, as we call him here around the Fantasy Pros stable, he is here as well. Now, Ryan is trying to get back up to speed, coming off of a very long NFL season. Welsh and I are a few weeks ahead of you, but I just wanted to put this out there. I just realized that Joey P., the Welsh, and the Worm, if that doesn't sound like a drive time morning radio show, I don't know what does.
It's the weenie in the butt all over again.
Hey, everybody. The best part about being called the Worm is that it kind of fits on the end of anything, right? Like Mayo and the Worm, Joey P and the Worm, Welsh and the Worm. It kind of just fits.
Mayo
I feel like
and the
you're
Worm
the
sounds like
punchline. You're like the
an
punch
experience
too.
I had at in Mexico once. Mayo and the Worm, I'm pretty sure.
But Joe, it's like you and me would be going back and forth and be like, "Hey, right, Worm?" And Worm's like, "Yeah, buddy, I'm the Worm." Yeah.
We're gonna fight every instinct we have to do the whole show like this. I can't say it's not gonna come up once or twice. But again, roto categories, that's the style of draft that we are doing today. I encourage everybody to go to fantasypros.com/draft wizard, and the draft wizard's open for business, or get that app. Again, Fantasy Pros, it's what you want to do. Get the app. It's on Apple. It's on Google Play, all that stuff. Start running your draft simulations today. And again, the private mock drafts are now open for business. So that's very exciting. The mock draft lobby will soon be open too, where you can just jump into them. Or you can, of course, join our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat, because we will be doing a lot of these with our Discord members. In fact, we're going to have a lot of our Discord members on the show to do mocks with us coming up soon. That's going to happen. They're always part of these mocks too. But today we're using the bots. We're using the droids, and we're going to see where it goes. Now, I have the number 2 spot. Welsh is picking from number 6, and the Worm is picking from the turn. Now, the Worm at the turn also sounds like a drive time radio show. So without further ado, let's kick things off here. Welsh, I know you do all the Black Book draft strategies, head-to-head roto categories. What is your go-to strategy in these situations?
What, overall or in your spot?
In the head-to-head categories, what are you looking for here?
Well, I mean, I want 5 tools. I want to get speed. I want to get some speed at the top. Speed is kind of coming up from all different spots, but the one thing you get at the top with these guys is consistent batting average, power. You kind of get all 5 tools. So I would like to make sure that I get elite speed. I'm probably not looking at pitching too early, and then we'll deal with how closers are going to be. But I'm looking for, you can't really ruin your draft with the first round pick, but I'm going to be looking for like quality speed guys. So I'm not chasing it later. I don't want to, do you want to chase Alberto Mondesi later? Like, do you want to do that?
No, I do not. The first player off the board is Aaron Judge, surprisingly. So Turner's still there. We are doing with corner and middle infield. We have 4 outfielders. Because we have 4 outfielders, we also have 9 pitcher spots. They're open, so we're not mandatory RPing today. I'm going to make a statement here, and that statement's going to be Julio Rodriguez. I want an outfielder. Wow. I know Welsh wants to take Acuna. Ohtani goes 2. Jose Ramirez goes Ohtani goes 3. Jose Ramirez goes 4. Trey Turner falling all the way to 5. Shocking. Welsh, your boy Ronald Acuna is still on the board. You got to be dancing a jig.
This is my number 1 player. This is who I would have taken at 4, who I would have taken at 2, who I'd have taken at 1. This is my number 1 player. Again, power, speed, average, homers, RBI, runs, every category I want. Let's play 119 games last year, was almost the lead in stolen bases, going to be top of the projections. I am in for Ronald Acuna, and 79% on Fantasy Pros agreed with that, which I probably helped with that metric a little bit.
First round is strong, very strong this year. Yeah. Alvarez at 107, Vladdy at 108, and Juan Soto at 109. What a steal he is. Tucker at 110, Mookie Betts at 111. Ryan Wormeli, you are up with back-to-back picks. You've got Trout on the board. You got Freeman. You got the 2 big pitchers. Which way you want to go?
Yeah, I would have loved Mookie, who obviously just went 1 pick before me, but that's fine. Obviously, still a lot of talent here left on the board. Early on, I don't really like to think about like too much strategy. Like those first few rounds, I just want the best players. Give me as much talent on my team to start. And I'll kind of fill in the spots later on. I do think that first base isn't as deep as I would like it to be. So I am going to go Freeman with one of these picks. Just being in the Dodgers lineup, obviously he's going to help in a lot of different categories. So I will go with him with one of those picks. And then, there's a lot of pitchers I like in sort of that rounds 3 to 7 range. So I tend to shy away from pitchers early. By the way, I will also say, as you mentioned, I am sort of just now dipping my toes back into the baseball coverage. There's no judgments in January. You can forget stuff. You can say, oh yeah, that guy had a slump to end the year. Oh yeah, like Cody Bellinger is in Chicago. That's right. Like you guys feel free to roast me if I make any boneheaded decisions.
Oh, we will. And look, you've only got, it's the last day of January. So this is the last day you can say what you just said.
Yeah,
so
I like that too. For anybody
February.
listening in February, they're like, oh, here's the first roast. It's February. So
I
do it. I missed the date.
We snuck this in last second. On my other pick, I am going to go just for kind of pure upside here. I know he didn't have quite the debut we all hoped, but he obviously did a lot of great things in the counting stats, and that's Bobby Witt. Not as efficient as we wanted, but I'm just going to go pure upside here, picking at the turn.
Welsh, I would have probably gone Trout and Bobby Witt there. You know me, like that's kind of, that's my dude there, because that's just all upside, and I'm playing that situation. The pitchers do start to come off the board here. We have Manny Machado at 203. Then we have Mike Trout at 202, who went after Bobby Witt. So he went before Bobby Witt. So we had Freeman and Bobby Witt going to Worm, and then Mike Trout going at 202, Manny Machado at 203, Garrett Cole, Fernando Tatis Jr., what a steal at 205. Welsh, telling you, whoever gets that second round Tatis is working with a lot of upside. Corbin Burns at 206, and then Welsh, you're up with 30 seconds on the clock at 207.
Yeah, contemplating a couple things. Third base kind of stinks. There's a couple good ones out here, but my top player is the top player that they're also suggesting, Bo Bichette. Again, this is 5 tools. Stolen bases might be coming down a little bit, but good homers. The position is deep, which makes me not want to do it, but I love him so much. And now I've got 2 players, probably projected close to 50 stolen bases between my 2 and around 50 homers. So I'll take that.
Indeed. Continuing on, Bo Bichette goes to Welsh, then Pete Alonso, Rafael Devers, Jacob deGrom at 210. There's a risky pick for that manager, that robot there. Some intriguing pitchers on the board here, Spencer Strider especially. Very tempting for me. I'm another guy that likes to wait on the pitching situation here. Top guys out there on the board, you have Goldschmidt, Austin Riley. That sounds pretty good to me. First base, pretty good. There is a drop off there after these guys, so I'm going to go ahead and take Paul Goldschmidt here and see who makes it back to me. Say Contra goes off the board. Austin Riley, I was hoping made it back. He did not. It's very upsetting. Now, here's where I have to find some discipline. So either I go off of my strategy, which is to wait on starting pitcher, which we've talked about a lot, or I break down and I take Spencer Strider. Welsh, what do you think I should do here?
Well, I like Spencer Strider a lot. My personal pitching tiers, there's a couple guys out here, but you got a long way to come back. Personally, with the players that are out there, I'm probably going to avoid based on your spot with how long you have to go. I'm probably going to go with a position player. Michael Harris is sitting out there. Outfield really stinks. That's not bad, but I wouldn't hate you for taking Strider. I might hate you because I would think about maybe taking it.
Yeah, that's about it. That's certainly one of them too. Looking at third base too, a few good names out there. I'm going to go ahead and go for the shortstop position here and go with Lindor. Get power, get speed, guy who plays every day. I think the projections here we have are a little low on him too. So give me Lindor here. So I've got Lindor, Goldschmidt, and Julio to start my roster here. I'm going to try to stay disciplined. Carlos Rodon goes at 303, then Michael Harris 304. Marcus Semien, another guy who was in competition there for my love at 305. Welsh, you're up at 306. So now that you talk me out of Strider, you're going to stick the knife in my back? Is that what's going to happen?
I might, because Strider is sitting out there right now. I don't love... see, here's the other thing we're dealing with, and it's staring me in the face, is do I want to start this closer thing? And I don't know if I want to
You love to start the closer thing. That's your MO.
I just don't like to get pushed back, but, Roto is a little bit more of a problem with that. Third base...
My goodness.
Joe,
He's having
players.
Here, folks.
All right, you know what? We are going to do that. We're going to go with Strider because I'm hoping to do something coming on the turn here.
All right.
What do you got, Worm?
We'll figure that out. Let's continue on here. So after Strider goes Real Muto, 307. Hate that pick. 308. You got Shane McClanahan, Edwin Diaz at 309. So there he goes. Jose Altuve, Brandon Woodruff. Now the Worm. for the last pick and 3 and the first pick and 4.
And McClanahan was who I wanted, by the way. I was debating trying to get him coming back, so it wouldn't have worked anyway. So
you didn't get him, you didn't get Diaz, you got nothing.
I probably would have taken McClanahan as well, even though I do tend to, if I'm between two guys, I tend to go with the position player over the pitcher, kind of like you guys have talked about a bit. There are a lot of pitchers that I like quite a bit. I think I'm at least going to take Arenado. Obviously, Witt can be my shortstop, and then Arenado, that's a great left-sided infielder
there. I think Arenado. Worm's going to come in here, and he's going to win this draft, which is going to piss me off. I can tell you right now.
I'm not so sure about that, but we'll see. I think I probably will take a pitcher here, just because picking on the turn, you kind of do have to reach a little earlier than you might otherwise want to reach on a guy. I do like a lot of them. Obviously, you have the aging guys with Scherzer and Verlander. I think Nola is probably the best guy here that I'm looking at. There's a nice floor with Bieber. I am going to go with Nola, though. I just think there's a lot of opportunities for wins, first and foremost, with that lineup. Clearly, he had a great year last year, so I will go with Nola here.
Gentlemen, who's the sexier McClanahan, Shane or Rue? That's my question. Rue McClanahan or Shane McClanahan? Who's sexier?
Who?
Rue McClanahan from the Golden Girls. Jeez, what's the pop culture?
I also did not know who that was.
I mean,
you guys.
What target audience there, Joe?
Yeah, come on. Everybody knows who.
Put it on the
Everybody
board.
knows who the Golden Girls are. You guys are the worst.
I've heard of the Golden Girls. I couldn't name any of them.
I know
Betty White was
Golden
one of them.
You know Betty White. There you go. Anyway, Alex Bregman at 403, Emmanuel Clase at 404, and then you have Luis Robert, Max Scherzer, Welsh. You're up at 407 with 27 seconds.
Yeah, and I am doing a little like, can I get sneaky? Can I get tricky here with some stuff? And I think I'm going to attempt to be sneaky here. First and foremost, I'm going to take one of the top pitcher. I'm going to go double pitcher, and I didn't think I would. I'm going to take Justin Verlander. Verlander, obviously with the Mets, you can count on wins, you can count on strikeouts, you can count on deep into games. My buddy Scott White, his number 1 pitcher on the board, probably top 5 for many people. Dylan Cease was on the board, who I passed up. Going with Verlander, and my hopes is I'm going to be able to sneak something back into the 5th round here, as long as Joe doesn't ruin it. But you're in a good spot now, Joe, where you're almost like a wheel spot. This is where you probably focus on starting pitching. Because
it is, and I'm going to go ahead with the top lift here that's being recommended to me here at the Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard, and that's Shane Bieber. 198 strikeouts projected. That sounds pretty good to me. Bieber had a nice season there for the Guardians. The in-between picks, though, just to rattle them off, after Verlander, Matt Olson, Dylan Cease, who I was looking at, hoping would make it to me. He did not. Rosarena, if he made it to me, I would have taken him. Yeah. Then Bieber at the turn, Corbin Carroll, look at 412. I think we're drafting against the Welsh bot and that number 1 team. Adelisa Garcia at 501, back to me here at 502. I like some of the pitchers here remaining. I don't love them. That's my problem with this group here. Looking around offensively, obviously, it's guys like Kyle Schwarber who are still available too, but I think I'm going to go for some more speed here potentially. Also, 2 guys at second base, very intriguing to me. Jazz Chisholm, Ozzie Albies, both still on the board. Jazz is really fun, but Atlanta's a better team, so I'm going to go with the counting stats there of Ozzie Albies and hope that they get some more power out of him too. Tommy Edman at 503, Jose Abreu at 504, Schwarber at 505, Welsh 506. You're up on the clock.
I got as silent as you can get when you said the second baseman, because I went, oh no, Joe's going to ruin it all. And you kind of did, because Ozzie is my backup. I love jazz. I'm a big jazz guy this year.
It's close.
Slow jazz. Yeah, exactly.
Slow jazz,
trip
smooth
jazz, whatever
all
it
the
is.
jazz.
Acid jazz. I love all the jazz. The new cover boy for MLB The Show. And I thought about taking him with the last pick. Second base stinks. He's my top second baseman. He's a little bit riskier. But you know what? And I look at my team, Bichette, Acuna, Strider, Verlander. I don't have a lot of inherent risk right now. So this is the perfect spot. And I am chock full of 2020 guys on my offense, which I love, and 2 elite starting pitchers. This is a great start. I'm very happy.
I'm happy with my start too. Goldschmidt, Albies, Lindor, Julio, and Bieber. I'll take that to begin. You know what? With Chisholm and Albies, to me, it was just, again, better team, more proven player. I love Jazz. He's very exciting. He's fun to watch, but I like
team context is better for sure. I also have them clumped. I think they're all very close.
They are very
Altuve,
close.
Simeon, Albies, and Jazz. All 4 of them are kind of a tier, and I don't hate anybody that gets any of them. That's why I wanted Albies to still be on the board, so I would have a backup option.
Josh Hader goes at 507. Then Dalton Varsho, George Springer, Corey Seager. Nice steal there, 510. I'm high on Seager this year. He's one of my backups at shortstop. Julio Urias at 511. And then Ryan on the clock here for 512 and 601. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Zach Wheeler with one of these. I really have a needed outfield, so I consider doubling down on a couple of high upside outfielders, but I really like Wheeler this season. I think he's going to be an awesome, pitcher number 2 for me. Of course, I'm very heavily invested in the Phillies now at this point with Nola and Wheeler. I am going to take
Phillies.
I am going to take an outfielder with my other pick. I think I probably should. There's a lot of guys that there's some question marks, but some really high ceilings here. I know he had the injury problems last year. I think I'm just going to take Marte. I do really need some speed.
Oh,
I'm hoping that, pretty much any speed guy this season, I think, with the rule changes and stuff, you could see some high stolen base totals there. I'm hoping that he's going to be healthy. That's an awesome lineup to be playing in. So I'm going to take Marte.
Yesterday, did a show with Joe Rico. He's doing previews of all the teams. We did the Mets. Obviously, he had me on, of course, Mr. Met. And we were talking about Marte, and actually, I like him better in roto season long than I do in head-to-head categories for that same reason. But I'm with you. I think the risk and the reward. I'm all about the reward here. I think it's a great pick where you have him there. After Marte, Bryce Harper goes way too soon at 602. That's a waste of a pick. Burn it, set it on fire. I'll see him in July. Romano at 603. Christian Javier, I'm mad at 604. Clearly, that's the Joe bot. I thought he was going to make it back to me. Bogarts, Devin Williams, and then the Welsh at 607. What do you got, Welsh?
Well, I'm contemplating a couple things. I think I'm going to do this because I'm very tempted. There are a couple pitchers on the board I really, really like, but outfield can stink. It stinks,
it does.
and it when it gets away from you, which it does with me, even though I know it, it drives me absolutely bonkers. And I really like Teoscar Hernandez going to Seattle this year with the power. I'm worried less about stolen bases. He's going to be hitting a prime spot where Julio Rodriguez is in there. So I think this is a great outfield pick, and I'm going to swoop him up over a few pitchers that I kind of wanted to take.
All right. Looking at some of the pitchers here, some of them went. Manoah went. Castillo went. I wanted those guys after Teoscar went. Then Hendricks goes. So it's back to me for 611. Looking at the pitching market here, definitely some guys I still really like. I think, it's funny because you got Musgrove, you got Darvish, you got Max Fried. All these guys are out there. Once again, I just keep going back to the Atlanta Braves for some reason. So give me Mad Max here. I think I'm going to go with Max Fried here. That's telling me to take Gossman, and I like Gossman. But we had a very interesting conversation on the PitchCon. He was doing the panel with Eno and Nick, and they had some good things, but some question marks there about Gossman I thought were very eye-opening. Now it's a choice between my two favorite Padres, Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove in that rotation. Again, these guys are super close. At the end of the day, I'm going to take Yu Darvish because he's more fun. Plus, I'll get a better grade because he's ranked higher. So I'm just going to work the system here. That's what I'm doing. So I've got my pitching. Yeah, I'm
working the system here.
Working the system a little bit. Well, I started with Julio, who was not the consensus too. So I got to make up some ground. I've got to get in the good graces of the draft wizard again. Kevin Gossman goes after I pick Fried, then Zach Gallen, who I also was considering. So Yu Darvish to me, Will Smith, Ryan Presley, Jimenez at 705, and then Welsh, you're up at 706.
Oh, man. Well, someone I wanted went. So
quite a pitching run, by the way, there.
Yeah. So
we
I'm trying to figure out where I want to
starters go here in the last 10 picks.
Got a couple position players that I like. There's still a couple really good outfielders that are out there as well. We do have 4, so that's nothing to
waiting for the
at.
Byron Buxton selection. I mean,
I'm looking at him, but
gotta stay on brand here. Well,
not yet. Not yet. All right. I think I'm going to go with another position that's just not great, and he's still on the board as a young guy. I'm going to go Gunnar Henderson. It was a 7% push, 70% push. Yeah, Gunnar Henderson. Give me my infield. A little bit risky now with Jazz and Gunnar, so I probably need to have a little bit more safety, but some stolen base upside, some offensive upside. Suck it.
He has flown up my rankings in the last 2 weeks. The more I watch film on him, I love this guy. He was my top of the queue, and now he's gone. To heck with you,
let me tell you guys how excited I was to go Gunnar and Adley back to back here.
Yeah, well, you can't.
And now they've both gone in the last 6/7 picks.
They have. Henderson goes to Welsh, then O'Neal Cruz at 707, Rutschman at 708, Valdez at 79, Iglesias, Swanson, and now no Orioles for the Worm. Very upsetting times.
I'm not going to be reaching on Santander quite yet. I actually was considering taking him, even before you mentioned him. Now that he's fallen, I will go with the upside of Buxton. So I now have a lot of speed, but a lot of injury risk in my outfield between Marte and Buxton in there. But at least I have two outfielders with decent ceilings. And then on my next pick, this is kind of an interesting point. I could go a lot of different directions. I have a pretty strong infield already. Second base and catcher is the only spots I'm missing. I'm not going to take a catcher now that Adley's gone, and I don't like any of the second basemen here. I have 2 of my 4 outfielders. I only have 2 pitchers. Again, there's a lot of depth there. I think I am going to go with the pitcher, though. I really like the value on Musgrove here, so I'm just going to take him.
All right. I love the value there with Musgrove. So Buxton, you stick it to the Welsh there for taking your guy. I like that.
I'll trade you Buxton for Gunner.
Yeah.
Right after the pass. You always love that. After you finish a draft and you immediately have a trade sitting in the inbox. You got to love those leagues. All right. Batista goes at 802. Not the wrestler, the pitcher for the Orioles. Robbie Ray at 803. Willie Adams at 804. Another guy from my queue gone. Clearly, the bots need to update their rankings with Trevor Story because he ain't playing. Sal Perez at 806. The Welsh, you're up at 807. What do you got?
Well, again, this is a spot where there's just a couple solid players in here, but so I'm kind of honed in on a first baseman, but I got to tell you guys, I do think first base is deep where we are right now. I think there's a lot of the same type of players that are out there. You could go in a little bit more upside, but guess what's not the same? It's the outfield, and Brian Reynolds is still out there and almost 100. Third outfielder I can pick up, 20 plus homer power. Even if he gets traded to a better offense, which he has requested a trade, that puts me in line to just have 3 really good outfielders, which I usually never have here. But I'm getting low on pitching because I do only have 2 total pitchers. So I'm probably going to have to start pivoting a little bit.
Yeah, I'm only at 3, but alas, here we are. So after you took Reynolds, who was definitely one of the top 3 guys I was considering, McKenzie goes at 808. Helsley, Sherman Helmsley goes 809. I know you don't know who that is either. Andres Jimenez 810. And then I am on the clock here looking through Tim Anderson. I could continue to kind of push the power speed. I could go with Tyler Glasnow, also very interesting. Eno had a lot of good things to say about Tyler Glasnow, so he's a pretty smart guy when it comes to pitching, so that's a strong consideration too. I've got 10 seconds, and I am definitely really trying to figure this out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the other pitcher here because I don't like the other pitchers as it goes through. So I'll take Glasnow. Oh, Vinny Pasquantino, my paisan. I was going to take him next. He goes right after me. Damn you, bots. 812. And then Nate Lowe at 901. So good pick there, too. That's another undervalued guy. Some other big-time pitchers. Still got the Seattle guys out there, too, with Kirby and Logan Gilbert. Like those guys. You know what? Since I've already kind of abandoned outfield and it's going to be ugly, I might as well just keep buying into it and just keep going with pitching and trying to find that. So I'm going to go with George Kirby here, take another pitcher. So I'm just going pitching heavy. It says it's a slight reach. Gave me the emoji face. I know.
I would have taken him. No, I would have taken him. That was a good pick.
So now the rotation is Bieber, Fried, Darvish, Tyler Glasnow, and George Kirby. So a little danger, a little upside. Sounds a lot like me on a Friday night. Kenley Jansen goes at 903. Seiya Suzuki 904. Clayton Kershaw 905. Welsh 906.
Well, I mean, Kirby was definitely at the top of my board of what I wanted to do. I got to go pitching. I've currently got Strider and Verlander. I kind of want to play the strikeouts here. And I'm struggling a little bit. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go with a younger pitcher, projected around 200 strikeouts. Command could be an issue. Really altered the way he approached pitching last year by throwing his slider like 30% of the time. I'm going to go with Hunter Green, who's probably going to tell me it's a reach. It was a reach alert, 71%.
So Hunter Green over Lodolo. That's interesting to me.
Well, I have Lodolo. I have them right next to each other. I want strikeouts. Okay. I'm playing for strikeouts right now. If I want the overall, I do like Lodolo a little bit more.
907 Tim Anderson after Welsh's pick. Then Munoz, one of the guys I've been talking about, just did the video talking about him. And 908, you can see that, by the way, here on the YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros MLB. Subscribe today if you haven't already. And of course, if you're listening to the podcast, go watch the draft. It's way more fun. Fantasy Pros MLB. Tyler O'Neill, Anthony Santander. Oh, another knife in the heart of Ryan Wormeli. Blake Snell at 911. Worm, 2 picks. Last of 9, first of 10.
Time for Austin Hayes and Jorge Mateo.
That's all that's left.
All you can do.
Yeah, is Colton Cowser still on the board?
He's still there. Lee Lacey's still there. We can find some old Orioles.
I'm going to continue my trend of outfielders with an injury history, although he did play a lot of games last year, and go with Christian Yelich here. I know that he didn't have quite the season. I guess I should draft him since there's only 3 seconds left on the clock. I know he didn't have quite the season. We've seen obviously recently, but he was healthy last year. I think there's still upside there and a nice floor since he's running more. And then looking again, I feel like the last couple of rounds, I've just done one outfielder, one starting pitcher. I might continue that pattern. There's a couple of different pitchers that I would be interested in. I like Logan Gilbert here. He would, especially as my SP4, since I already have 3 guys that I'm really confident in. I like Kyle Wright, had a good year. Logan Webb would be the opposite of Welsh and not going for strikeouts, but just a reliable guy. I think I am going to go with Webb. I like a guy that I can slide in there. I'm never going to have to worry about him. So I'm going to go with Webb as my SP4 here.
All right. So SP4 it is. Ryan, aren't you the reigning champion of our in-house baseball league? Is that correct?
As a matter of fact, I am. Wow. And I won that league with nothing but pitching. My hitters were fine. Like I had Lindor, I had Mookie, I picked up Adley. But
sounds pretty good.
but my pitching staff was like dominant. I had like 4 of the top 6 pitchers and just like never changed them out any week of the season. It was excellent. But I appreciate you bringing that up.
I want to make sure we tout the smart people here on the show. I did not win that league, obviously. No. After Yelich and Webb, you've got Carlos Correa, who signs with this team here. Doval goes into 1003. The bounce back Chris Bryant, 1004. Interesting pick here in the 10th round. Huge boomer bust. Kirk at 1005. Gleyber Torres at 1006. The Welsh at 1007 with 15 seconds.
Sometimes you just got to take the values that are there, and we're at 115, and Wander Franco is still on the board. I have a shortstop. I don't care because we're playing middle infield. Wander Franco, we're going to play a buyback, and this is all the value in the world for Wander, which is a top 85 ADP on FantasyPros.
Well, you knew I was going to take him if you waited. That was going to certainly be the case. 2 Yankee starters still on the board for me. Nestor Cortez and Severino, certainly 2 to think about. After you took Franco, you had Kyle Wright, CJ Cron, Stephen Kwan out there too. He was top of my queue, by the way, too. So I was very much considering him. Unfortunately, that did not go my way. I definitely need closer still, but outfield is so bad. It's just tough. I'm going to hate myself. I think I'm going to go full Bogman here. Do I dare? Do I do it? Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton. Gross. Right. Slight reach. Whatever. We have Contreras from St. Louis going at 10-12. Then Melendez, little catcher run here at 11-01. Back to me. Both Yankees on the board. I can take closers if I want. Or I could say, screw it. And continue just pound the pitching market, which I think is what I'm going to do here. I really like Severino at the end of the year. I think he did very well. But again, they're so close, so I'm going to take Nestor Cortez, give the value pick. I got a thumbs up, a nice positive emoji finally. I'll be able to sleep tonight after that. Clay Holmes, who I was considering, now I'm pissed, went right after me at 11:03. Yep. Jerks. Ahmed Rosario at 11:04. Nico Horner at 11:05. Welsh is up for 11:06.
Yeah, the closer market's going to get real bad here real soon. But again, looking at values, man, I don't necessarily need it, but I'm going to be able to dominate it. I can lock up my 4th outfielder, and Jake McCarthy is here, who in some projection systems is projected to lead the league in stolen bases on a Diamondback team that's going to run. He's still out there. He's my 4th outfielder. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I have a monster outfield, so I'm going to take McCarthy. And I did pass up some players that are really, really hard to pass up. I will admit that.
Who were those players that were hard to? You don't want to say.
Logan Gilbert. Logan Gilbert was one.
Who went right
he's
after.
Gone now. I wanted to.
I almost took Logan Gilbert too, but I already had Kirby, and it's like, how many Mariners do I want? I want to spread the love a little bit. Christian Walker at 11:08. Will Smith at 11:09. Then you have Rhys Hoskins at 10:11. Jorge Polanco, and Ryan's up for 2 picks here. The last of 11 and the first of 12.
Yeah, you mentioned Severino. I think I'm just going to take him here. It's too much upside for me to pass up on at this point in the draft. And again, my starting pitchers now are pretty. I'm really happy with them. I mean, Nola, Wheeler, Musgrove, Webb, and Severino. That's a strong starting 5, especially when you're not, reaching one of those early round guys. So, I feel like I say this every round. There's a lot of different directions you could go. Obviously at this point in the draft, that's going to be true for most people. I could go with my 4th outfielder. I don't really want to do that. Man.
Outfield is a wasteland.
I think you want to do it. I think you kind of want
well, you know what I think I actually want to do, and Mayor is not here, but I will get my Oriole and just take Mountcastle since we have a corner.
Oh,
think
a poor little outlaw homie. He was supposed to be here today, and then he went to the Senior Bowl. So unfortunately, so there we go.
Baseball people don't know what that is, Joe. They're like, what?
It's a football thing where the seniors in college, they play against each other. Nick Lodolo at 1202. Chris Bassett, nice value at 1203. Yandy Diaz, who I put in my queue, is now gone. A little bit of batting average. That would have been nice. Not going to happen. 1205. Nick Castellanos. I think he's due for a big bounce back. That's a key piece for the Phillies. If he has a regular Castellanos season, not a bad one. Daniel Bard at 1206. The Welsh, you're up at 1207. What do you got?
All right, I'm going to grab a closer here. We haven't been doing that. It's kind of silly. This is probably a little bit against what I usually like to do. I want to get closers. I don't want to be swimming in that really crap pool of closers, but David Bednar is still there. This is pretty good value at this point. I am worried about a trade at some point that makes him end up being a setup guy. And, Pittsburgh just in general is not going to have a whole lot of save opportunities, but he is one of the better guys on the market. So I'm going to lock up one of my closers when I still need some pitchers.
All right. We'll see how that works out for you. I look forward to seeing that. Look, right now I kind of need a third baseman, and there's one guy I still kind of feel pretty good about. And after that is a tough road. So I'm going to go ahead and take Ty France here. Is slight reach. What are you talking about, Draft Wizard? That's a good pick here, 12-11. He's a good player. Taylor Ward, who's not that great of a player, 12-12. And then Luis Arraez, now in the Miami Marlins squad at 13-01. Back to me. The closer out there keeps telling me Scott Barlow. I mean, there's Brandon Nimmo, who's the top lift. He's an interesting pick here, too. Continue to get some outfield. He's going to give me a little everything. I think Nimmo makes a lot of sense here. I'm going to go ahead and take the top lift here and get another outfielder because it's gross out there. That's going to be the theme of this year's mock drafts. Outfield is gross,
Yucky.
And we're playing 4 in this one. I didn't want to go all the way to 5. 3 was not enough, so we're playing 4 in this league. Giolito goes next at 1303. Brandon Lau at 1304, Jeremy Pena at 1305, Welsh 1306.
Well, the only position I have failed to tackle is first base, but there's still some pretty decent options. I'm going to still push it back. I need to get back in on the pitching market. I think this guy's a pretty good value, put up some pretty good numbers last year. High strikeouts, ERA might be a little bit wonky, but Atlanta is going to get you wins, and I'm going to take him over Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan. They actually said the top lift is Chris Sale, but very limited innings. I'm going with Charlie Morton as my 4th SP here.
Yeah. Old man Morton.
That's right.
Charlie Morton's going to be 57 years. He's going to be like Charlie Huff. Like he's going to be 57 years old, just still pitching. I want my kids.
I hope so.
Kids to be watching Charlie Morton play. That's what I want. Whit Merrifield at 1307. That's another fascinating late round selection that bounce back. Duran from the Twins at 1308 also was on my board. Lazardo 1309. Oh, your boy Walker from St. Louis. Look at that, going 1310. You think that's too early, Welsh, or no?
Yeah. I mean, all right. The one thing I will say, if we get the 100% confirmation that he is going to be in the opening day lineup, he's going to be close to top 100 player. This is more speculative that they really feel good about it. I think that's a reach. I don't think you need to take him here, but I still like it.
So Barlow goes next. So another closer off the board. Ryan, you're on the pick with 10 seconds left. You're on the board.
Yep, this is actually a fairly easy one for me. I'm going to take Max Muncy. I know his season-long numbers were really terrible last season, but I think a lot of that was a midseason injury. He finished a lot stronger than he looked in the middle of the season last year. And I have a big need at second base. Obviously the rest of my infield is really strong, so I can take the chance that, well, maybe he did just kind of fall off the cliff a bit. But, I like that pick a lot here to fill up my second base slot. And then on my next pick, I probably should get that 4th outfielder. I'm just not in love with a lot of the guys there.
Tough,
I think I probably will go. Well, since he does have eligibility there, I will go with Jeff McNeil, get some nice batting average, just signed the extension, obviously. He's in a great lineup. So I'm going to go with McNeil for that 4th outfielder spot.
All right. We'll continue on to Welsh's pick next. Before we do, Contreras goes to Milwaukee. That's the catcher I wanted. He's gone. Alexis Diaz in Cincinnati goes to 1403. Then Rizzo at 1404. Suarez at 1405. Brian Hayes at 1406. And Welsh is up for 1407.
Alexis Diaz was my pick, so that's a little bit disappointing that went down here. I have not tackled first base, and I think I'm going to do it here. my power numbers are solid. I don't have, as I'm looking, I'm not sure there's like elite power numbers. I did sacrifice with a couple players. So I'm actually going to jump above. I love Jose Miranda this year, but in this situation for my build, I'm going to secure Rowdy Tellez. 30 plus home run power as my first baseman, and maybe get some luck a little bit later. But I'm sacrificing the batting average for a little bit more power in this instance because of the team I built, which is high batting average.
I'm glad I took the pitchers I did when I did, because right now it's kind of rough out there. I think I might even take another one. I could do it. I'm going to take Pablo Lopez now with the Minnesota Twins. Give that guy some run help for a change. That'd be nice. Let's see. After you took Tellez, nice value there. You had Murphy, then Yoshida, Joe Ryan. I took Lopez, Tony Gonsolin at 14-12, Brennan Drury at 15-01. We'll see if he can carry over last year's breakout. For me, I definitely need some sort of closer situation there. It's not great. There's no doubt about that. Leclerc is the closer. I think Texas is going to be better than people realize. Sewald is the top lift, quote unquote, but I am really skeptical that that's the guy that holds on with Munoz, just kind of clipping at his heels. Pete Fairbanks is there. Would you take Fairbanks or Leclerc right now? Because Fairbanks also in a potential job battle there in Tampa.
I mean, I would tell you to take Leclerc, so I could take Peter Fairbanks.
Yeah,
so
I'll take
I would
Fairbanks
probably take
then.
Peter
Well,
Fairbanks.
Excellent. I like that. So I got a reach alert. It gave me this face.
Yeah, but all the closers at this point are in this like reach territory. But I
just think Texas is going to be better than people think this year too. I think the save opportunities will be up a tick with some of those pitching moves that they made. Javier Baez at 15-03. Javier Baez, Alex Verdugo 15-04, Ian Happ at 15-05. Nice steal there, I think. Welsh 15-06. What do you got?
Well, I really need to focus on the pitching, and we're in the 170s. And I was saying, to maybe move away from him before, but now we're getting into a deal range of Chris Sale. Chris Sale, if we can get a healthy season, it's a little bit of a risk. He is the top pitcher on the board according to FantasyPros, and I've got him a little bit higher than this. So this is beating his ADP, and I just need more pitchers. So I've got this old, boring pitching staff that's centered around like Strider and Green, and everybody else.
Chris Sale, Charlie Morton, right? Do you have Morton too or no?
I have Charlie Morton, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Sale.
5-year plan. What is it? Don't die?
Yeah. All right. After Welsh's selection of another old pitcher, we got Hunter Renfroe at 15-07, Dustin May at 15-08, Jose Miranda at 15-09, Jake Cronenworth, then Matt Chapman and Ryan up for the last and 15 first at 16.
Yeah, I don't have a closer yet. Not that I particularly love Sewald, but I think I'm just going to take him. He's a top ranked guy here. And at this point, you're kind of just throwing darts at the closer position anyway. So that might have been a botch by me to wait this long on that. I do really like a lot of the other guys that I've taken, but I am going to take Sewald. And after him, man,
the players stank.
This is just putting this out there as a public service announcement for everybody out there. Don't play in 20 team leagues this year unless you hate your life.
Yeah,
just don't do that. Yeah. It's not gonna be fun.
Well, once the talent goes, it goes. I can only
hope that Welsh is going to take Adam Wainwright when it comes back to him and just stay on brand with this pitching
just
staff.
Get all the oldies.
Maybe Charlie Huff is still available. Maybe see if he's out there.
I should have had the Golden Girls reference.
I
tend to lean towards young, talented guys. I'm going to go with Jonathan India, and then I'm going to be able to slide McNeil into that middle infield spot. Or excuse me, I can put India in the middle infield spot since I have McNeil outfield. So I'm going to get that slot filled and then just not think about middle infield the rest of this draft.
All right. Luis Garcia from Houston Astros goes at 16-02. Stevenson, 16-03. Estrada, Merrill Kelly, our boy Merle, and then Jordan Montgomery at 16-06. The Welsh, you're up at 16-07. What do you got?
All right. Well, I was going to do something else, but I think there's an incredibly good value because I got a corner infield spot. I took Rowdy Tellez. I'm going to take Josh Bell, moved over to the Guardians. Obviously struggled when he went over to the Padres, but I believe he can turn that around. Again, decent batting average, 20-plus homer potential, and a pretty good lineup around Jose Ramirez. And this just solidifies my entire offense. So Josh Bell is, I think, a really good value at this point, almost 200. And FantasyPros did agree, saying it was a steal.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. Bell probably would have been on my team. Springs goes, then Cal Raleigh goes. Brady Singer, another guy out of the queue onto another team. This pisses me off. 16-11. I am up here. Oh man, outfield, you are so ugly. It's just an ugly place, man. It's just bad. I mean, I think I'm gonna do it. I mean, it's enormous risk, but I think I'm gonna take Mitch Haniger and just light a candle in church. I'm getting the steal. It's clapping at me, but I feel like it's the 3 claps, which is the same thing of someone.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's
saying, "Why did you do that?"
I think it's a slow, like
that guy. Yeah,
Good
that was
job.
very much like that. All right, so look, hopefully it works out. Probably won't. That's the way it goes. Looking around some of the other talent out there too. I definitely need look. John Gray went, Lance McCullers went. Those were another 2 very appealing guys. I'm gonna go ahead and take another closer here of Leclerc. I know it's not exciting. I get a slight reach. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. Gets more saves. Harrison Bader goes next. Rasmussen at 1704. Soto at 1705, who's now in the Phillies, just in case you're still catching up too. In a trade there with the Detroit Tigers. He's fascinating, entering into that closer misc. I like that pick. 1706, the Welsh with 45 seconds.
Yeah, the Jeffrey Springs one kind of hurt or a little bit earlier. That is who I wanted pretty bad. So I'm a little bit bummed about that. I don't have a catcher, and I'm not going to take one yet, clearly, because of how this market looks here.
Yeah, you would be
I'm going to jump in and snag another closer because the market's getting pretty bad. I'm going to go with Jorge Lopez. I actually think Jorge Lopez, with the year he put up, might actually be the guy that they want to put more in that closer role and let Duran be the fire hose. So I think I'm going to get some saves out of Jorge Lopez still. So
all right, so Jorge Lopez, another guy who's a late closer that can be taken there. Josh Rojas at 1707, then Meneses at 8, Cody Bellinger 1709, Josh Naylor lasted a long time at 1710, Oscar Gonzalez at 1711, and then Ryan's up for the last of 17 and the first of 18.
Yeah, well, one of these picks is going to be easy, and it's probably actually a dumb pick, but again, I'm an Orioles fan, no judgment in January. I'm going to take Grayson Rodriguez. It's pretty unlikely he's going to get a lot of innings this season. They tend to be very conservative. There was a report in The Athletic earlier this week about how he was, they don't like to shut guys down in August and September. They like to just give them like 4 or 5 innings at a time, even if they're really pitching well, and just try and get him to extend throughout the whole year. But I'm just going to take him. It's fun to have really talented young players on your favorite team. And also he's like a super good prospect. So,
he's absolutely.
I'm happy with that. And I also have a lot of pitching depth, at this point in the draft. So, I'm really comfortable with that one. On
nice
the other
brag there. Yeah. There.
on the other pick, man, like I need a catcher, but like Welsh said, I don't really want any of these guys. I need a closer, a second one. I don't really want any of these guys. There's the ex-Oriole Trey Mancini, but that's too early. I might just take.
I don't know if it is. I don't think it's that early.
I think it's a little too early for him. I might take Bohm, corner infielder for the Phillies, and just get a nice utility player with again some upside there.
You have to also take all of his feelings along with it. I just want you to know. All right, we got Alex Lang going at 1802. The Nuge Bar is open at 1803. Sandoval at 1804. Frankie Montas, who I'm not touching, with a 10-foot pole this year at 1805. So they grade 1806. The Welsh, 1807.
Well, I would have loved for Newt Bar just to slide a tiny bit more. I couldn't take him here. I wanted him coming back. The top guy on my board is still there. I am very big on Andrew Heaney this year. It's another one of those just older guys with just higher strikeout numbers. He is an injury risk, and I'm a little bit worried that I do have 2 of those now. I've got that in Chris Sale and him. Mm-hmm. But again, I've got a lot of these just older inning eater guys like Charlie Morton and Justin Verlander that make me feel a little bit better. And this is a no-brainer pick for me. And it actually is, I'm surprised about this. Maybe my ranks are helping it. He's a top lift on the draft here. So Andrew Heaney, pretty easy pick for me.
All right. Heaney, then McMahon, Ryan McMahon, that is, not Vince. Vaughn Grissom at 1809. Riley Green at 1810. You're fired. I'm going to take some upside here. Let's see what the Welsh thinks of this one. I need some steals, according to the Wizard. And that's the beauty of the software here at Fantasy Pros. It tells you where you're behind a little bit. So I'm going to take a shot at a guy playing every day that's got some speed. And he ain't coming out of this lineup. I don't care how good or bad he is. It's CJ Abrams. So give me Abrams for that middle infield spot. I don't care if it's a slight reach. Miles Mikolas goes next. Mateo at 1901. Back to me at 1902. And I'm going to go ahead and take JD Martinez at my utility spot. Get a little bit of power. I got a thumbs up value pick. So once again, I got the love and the disrespect in back-to-back moments from the Draft Wizard. Always kind of ground you. That's why I like the draft simulator here at Fantasy Pros. Josh Young, great pick at 1903. I was also strongly considering Alex Cobb at 1904, Garcia from San Diego at 1905, Welsh 1906.
Well, this is not going to help my power numbers. And by the way, I love Abrams. The only thing that doesn't work in your favor here is I think every projection system on Carroll and Abrams are low on stolen bases this year. So I think he's going to pass it. So I like the pick. I just don't think the projections are going to.
Got him at 16 on the projections, but I think it's going to go well past that.
Yeah, I 100%. This is maybe a little bit of homer pick, but we're post 200. The position, I've got some injury risk in there, and this is going to go at util. I'm going to go with Ketel Marte, post 2-100.
He was the other guy I was thinking too.
Yeah, batting average. Hopefully the homers pick back up a little bit. The power and RBI run totals, he's going to hit 3 for the Diamondbacks. So, I do have a couple D-backs in here, but I'll take Marte at post 200.
Between Marte and Martinez, I was just looking. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take the guy who, if Martinez gets back to being a 30 home run guy, maybe second life in LA here, it's a good situation for him. All right, after you took Marte, great pick at 1906. Man, this guy was a third-round pick a couple years ago. It's crazy. Cabrera from Miami at 1907. He's a buzzy guy right now. Jose Barrios at 1908. Another guy, how the mighty have fallen. Anderson from the Angels at 1909. Then Senga at 1910. That's a nice pick there if that pans out. Seth Brown. Pick, yeah. And then the Worm wiggles his way into 19 and
what are you gonna do, Worm?
Yeah,
Worm.
Well, the guy I was looking at is also the top lift by the software, and that's Reed Detmers. So I'm gonna take him. Just continuing to blatantly ignore relief pitchers and just continue to add depth at starting pitcher. In looking at the categories I need, I'm in a lot of good spots. Good in runs, stolen bases, and average. I could use some power. Obviously, I could use saves, and I could use some ERA as well.
Could use a lot of things.
Yeah. In looking through, and man, you just get to this part of the draft, and like I said, you're really just throwing darts here and kind of seeing what sticks.
20 seconds.
I think I will go. Man, I think I'm gonna go again. I've sort of leaned into the upside here a lot and the risk, but just if they hit, they hit. And I'm gonna go Jack Flaherty.
7 seconds.
Okay. All right, Jack Flaherty. There you go, rolling the dice. I like look at this point.
Yeah, it's all upside after pick 200 anyway. So
that's right. That's what my mama always said. Trevor Bauer. Speaking of upside, holy crap! So Dominguez goes at 2002, then Trevor Bauer at 2003. Free agent Trevor Bauer. Travis d'Arnaud, Hudson, Grichuk, Welsh, 2007. What do you got?
Well, the pitchers stink. Holy God, what happened to that? Not that it necessarily took me off guard, but we went we fell off of an absolute cliff here of the available guys. I've got 2 relievers. I'm contemplating going into another one, but I'm with this. This is with my trend here of these old boring pitchers that can eat some innings, and he's a top lift on the board. Ironically, I'm going to pick him over kind of a younger guy who doesn't have a rotation spot, Nathan Eovaldi, his sub-4 ERA, and I'm going to round out that rotation with, literally the oldest and most boring dudes in Hunter Green.
Hey, stay on brand. Phillips, then Suarez, Rendon, back to me. Looking at my staff too, when you're in these head-to-head formats, whether it be points or categories, that win equity matters. And having guys, I got a guy in Cleveland, Atlanta, San Diego, Tampa, Yankees, Seattle, Minnesota, all teams that I think are going to produce double-digit wins, every single one of these guys. So I think that's something to, we talked about in the football pod so much this year. I want to bring it over to the baseball pod too. Good ecosystems matter. It just does. All right, let's roll the dice and have some fun because I haven't had any yet, really. Tristan Cassis, first baseman, Boston Red Sox. Let's go. I got a corner spot with your name on it, pal. It's all for you. I could take a catcher here. And Danny Jansen's out there. I think that's a decent one. You got the Jonaheim, as I like to call him. He is still on the board as well. What is the Wizard saying, though? It's saying, probably Danny Jansen. Just go ahead and do it. So I probably just will. I'll fill out that main roster here, and then I will look for the bench players here. I got the value pick,
I was going to take Danny
and a boo from Welsh, which means it's all the worth it. Will Myers, 2103, a guy we were just talking about the other day on the pod. If you missed that, go back and listen. You got Rogers from Miami, Eric Lauer from Milwaukee at 2105, and the Welsh at 2106.
Well, I didn't like that you took Danny Jansen because that was gonna be my pick.
Well, I'm glad I did it to you then.
And we are doing the bench, right?
We got 4 bench spots, only 4 because I want to keep the show tight like a tiger today as much as we can because the baseball drafts can go long sometimes. But I think we'll get this in under the hour mark for sure. So 23 seconds, you're on the board. Where do you go?
I'm gonna pull a Ryan and be like, well, take a player.
That was the old Mike Piazza thing. People ask him a question. Every interview you ever got from Mike Piazza started,
yeah.
If you don't believe me,
I went with a third closer here because I'm, swimming in a much shallower pool of good guys. So I went with Kyle Finnegan, who looks like he's the closer in Washington, at least for now, just trying to get some saves. And this is something I'm going to do. If I don't get at least an elite guy, I'm going to look to try to get 3 of those lower half. If you're in like the bottom 15, I want to get at least 3 of them because the probability of one not working out is so much higher when you're outside of the locked in gig guys.
DJ LeMahieu Contreras from Pittsburgh goes next. I thought for sure that's the guy you were going to take. He was in my queue. I was like, well, Ronzi's gone, so I guess
who went? Ronzi, yeah, no.
Yeah. I thought Ronzi was going to be your guy. John Birdie, 2109. Aaron Ashby, 2110. This is where we start throwing darts, folks. Morel at 2111. Worm, 2112. What do you got?
Yeah, I still need a catcher. It's the last starting spot I need, so I'm just going to go with Ruiz. He's the top guy.
I love that all 3 of us wait on catcher as long as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have if Adley had gotten to me, but he didn't, so that sort of immediately set my my strategy there. And then I do need another reliever. I have a ton of starting pitchers, like I've mentioned a bunch. I have 1 closer. I'm going to go. He's not a closer currently. I'm just going to go with a talented guy out of St. Louis, Giovanni Gallegos, and just take, again, sort of the highest ranked guy here again at this point. Just go for talent.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. After Ruiz and Gallegos, you've got Jared Walsh, Martin Perez, Jaime Laureano, Benintendi, and the Welsh at 2207.
Well, I hate all these guys. Pretty hardcore. I don't like any of them. I don't want any of them on my team, but I have to have them on my team. And looking at the category builder here, it's had me fall off a little bit as far as pitching has gone. And I'm going to come back to it, I think, because there was a position player. Where did he go that I liked? I'm going to go with a little bit of upside here. And I'm going to go with Miguel Vargas, who projections aren't crazy on here, but could be playing second base for this team. Looks like he's lined in to be the second baseman. And they've got him around 400 plate appearances. So he's not going to super help my projections or anything here. That'll be something that holds me back a little bit, but I'm happy with him.
All right. Looking ahead here. Some interesting pieces here, including some basically the top 5 guys at one position. 4 of them were just guys we talked about in the pod being potential, big time breakout value guys, and they're all still here. It's just a matter of who you want to take. That is the tricky part here. I'm sure all of them would give me the reach, which is something you want to avoid on the draft wizard here. The pitching is rough right now for sure. Whether or not you believe in Justin Steele, that's one very good season last year. I like what the Cubs did. I'm going to take a shot on the lefty and see what happens there. Then we have Adam going next, Urias, 2301, back to me. And here we go. I mean, Matt Mervis, Kirilloff, Torkelson, all these guys are still there. So it just comes down to, which do you believe in? Mervis is the one that pops the most here. If you're looking for the top guy, it's Jock Peterson. I know what Peterson is. He runs hot and cold. That's not super exciting to me. On the reliever side, can still grab another closer there. Dylan Floro has the job right now in Miami. So I think at this point in time, it's going to take another closer for some depth here because closer is a little weak for me. So we'll see if the draft wizard rewards or scolds me. Ohape at 2303, and then Tyon goes, who's also a consideration. Lourdes Gurriel, now in Arizona Diamondback at 2305, and the Welsh at 2306.
Well, a guy kind of struggled on the back half of the year, was good a little bit early on, but Tyler Mahle going over to the Minnesota Twins. I think there's just a lot of offensive support there. Projections are pretty decent on strikeouts. He's a top pitcher on the board. I want to have another pitcher on my bench. I got only 4 bench spots, and 3 of the 4 are probably going to be pitchers here. So I'm going to go with Tyler Mahle because I did take 3 closers.
Twins had a good offseason, I think. I think the Twins are, they're going to compete. They want this, and that's good. It's a great fan base, so I hope that they do. Sean Manaea, bounce back potential, 2307. Colton Wong, 2308, another guy to Seattle, too. Seattle's another team, too. Very aggressive, I feel like, the last 2 years. Urquidy at 2309. Conforto, 2310, another bounce back candidate. Bailey Ober, another Minnesota Twin at 2311. And then Ryan's up for 2 picks at the turn.
Yeah, I'm going to take Taylor Rogers. He's projected next in line for the closer role in San Francisco, and I'm just going to kind of hope that he gets that opportunity. And that's also a team that's willing to give multiple guys save opportunities at various points throughout the year. So just give me a couple extra saves there. And then on the other pick, I still am in need of some power. Not sure where I can really look for that at this point.
Your last pick, make it good.
I'm also kind of, you know what I might do is, since I need power and I love young talent upside, is just take Francisco Alvarez and say,
there you go.
Happens. Top 3 prospect in a lot of places. Just like some of the best power in the minors right now. I need power. I like young talent.
Actually, you got one more pick. I forgot. So we actually have another round to go. But still, Alvarez, he's going to be up at some point, whether he's DHing or playing catcher. We shall see. Vasquez, another catcher at 2402. Also now Minnesota Twins. I'm telling you, man, the Twins all in. The chips are in. Grandal, Graveman, Quantrill, Juan Yepez at 2406, and the Welsh at 2407. The Welsh is on the mute. Got to unmute the Welsh.
I am on the mute. I apologize.
We want to hear you. You have a lovely singing voice.
Yeah. I hate the close. I hate the catchers so dramatically.
Hey, well, throw a dart at Moreno.
Yeah, that's one of those guys you could. I'm going to make my very last pick be a closer, something I like to do sometimes. We're going to just swoop in and get a Chicago Cub, Marcus Stroman, as my final bench spot. And then the final pick I'll have will be a starting catcher, which I'm going to take a look at.
All right, then.
Right now.
All right, I got 2 picks remaining here. Let's see what I have left in the queue. Oh, let's have some fun, shall we? I can't believe I'm doing this, but it's just so late and it's head-to-head category, so why not Adalberto Mondesi? Just for fun, and come back to me, and I'll take Welsh's guy, Matt Mervis, in between Adam Wainwright, Nick Pavetta. After I take Mervis, we have Chris Martin, we have Hughes, Brian Bello, and then Welsh at 2506.
I'm going to just go with Mitch Garver.
Apologies.
Mitch Garver, highest projected home run catcher that's here. This is going to be an interchangeable spot for me. You said about Moreno. I just don't think Moreno is going to be given the job this year. He's going to still be splitting between Carson Kelly. I don't really need him in that spot unless proven otherwise. And when you're taking a catcher at the very end, I'm just going to be turnstiling this thing. So that's what's going to end up happening. So I'll take the best guy via projections, Mitch Garver on the home run front, and cross my fingers that the system likes what I did.
Such a great name. I love Mitch Garver. That's a dude right there. Garrett Whitlock, Ha-Seong Kim, Dre Jameson, AJ Minter, Quintana, Mr. Irrelevant, the Worm. Who is it?
I'm going to go, I will take Austin Hayes because he does have power and he's one of those guys. He can go on a heater from time to time. I don't expect to start him a lot given my lineup, but might as well, Mr. Irrelevant, make it an Oriole who has some pop, which is desperately needed on my roster.
I can't wait to see all the YouTube comments from all the people. That guy just takes Oreos. What's he doing? He's such a homer. B+ for me, 87 out of 100. I would go to war with this roster for sure. Let's see who won the draft, though, as it's loading and it's thinking. It's the Welsh. Ladies and gentlemen, the Welsh finishes 1, Team 3 finishes 2, the Worm finishes 3, and I finished 4. It'll tell me because I reached a little for Julio. I should have taken Trey Turner. That's the what if it's giving me. And you know what? I don't care. I want Julio on my team. That's who I want.
Gave me 95 out of 100, by the way. 95 out of 100.
But, hot take here, right here, it's showing me Joe Pisapia Fantasy Pros likes my draft more than any other expert. And that's what makes it all worthwhile. Pablo Lopez, Mitch Haniger, and Adalberto Mondesi are my steals. The top returns, Julio, Ozzy Albies, Stanton, and JD Martinez, though. So if those guys produce power-wise, I feel really good about this team. Welsh, who likes your draft? Who are some of the who's a favorite expert, and who are some other experts that like it?
Well, the number one expert was Yahoo's Dalton Del Don, who liked it. But very interesting. Number 3 is Chris Welsh, who loves my draft so much. He loves it so much. Very disappointing, though. One of the thumbs down, Kelly Kirby. Kelly Kirby did not like it.
Mike Mayer gave me a thumbs down, but I expect that to be automatic the way the draft wizard set up for me personally.
I'm very disappointed in it.
It's just a picture of Mike Mayer giving me a thumbs down. Worm, how about you? What do you got here? Who's your
well, both Kelly Kirby and Scott Bogman like my draft. A couple guys that don't like it include Pat Fitzmaurice and Joey P liked my draft the least. But for everybody who says, oh, he's Homer who takes a bunch of Orioles, I projected 3rd. I got a 93. That's an A grade on this draft. The biggest what if for me was if I had taken Trout, which I strongly considered at that turn at the end of the first round. I obviously ended up going with Freeman and Witt, who are both ranked top 3 at their position. So I'm really happy with that. But Trout was sort of my biggest what if, and the software seems to think that I would have been a lot higher if I had taken him.
Interestingly enough, I projected number 3 in hitting and number 2 in pitching, which is why this put me so high. So my starters were the number 1 overall. And the what if said that if I had drafted Salvador Perez at 7-6 and drafted a shortstop later, I would have had a significantly higher score. They loved my Wander Franco, Chris Sale, and Josh Bell picks. Thought I reached on Gunnar Henderson a little bit, and really interesting.
You did not
together here.
I disagree with that. I love Gunnar Henderson. You know what's great too is when you're using this software. For those of you who are still new to this, again, FantasyPros.com/draft wizard, you can back out picks. If you go a couple picks and you don't like the way that's going, you can go undo and then go do another direction, and that is a great tool. Let me tell you, it really helps you kind of get your strategy together. Welsh. Your team, Mitch Garver, Tellez, Chisholm, Bichette, Gunnar Henderson, Josh Bell, Wander Franco, Acuna, Teoscar, Brian Reynolds, Jake McCarthy, Ketel Marte. The rotation, Strider, Verlander at the top, Hunter Green, Sale, Bednar, Charlie Morton, Andrew Heaney, Eovaldi, Jorge Lopez, and then Molly, Stroman, Finnegan, Vargas on the bench. How do you feel about this?
I like the team. I like the overall construction. I would like my closers to be a little bit better, but this is the sacrifice, and I was still able to get some late guys for saves. I wish I would have got Alexis Diaz. That would have made me feel a little bit better than Jorge Lopez, but it's the best outfield I probably constructed so far in all my mock drafts this year. I think I had a good amount of risk versus floor. My pitching staff was pretty exemplary of that, like with Strider and Hunter Green, and then a bunch of these old guys to kind of prop up. This is ideally how I want to construct it, not just because Fantasy Pros gave me the top projected, but this is how I want to construct these teams. I got tons of speed. I was projected number 1 in runs and in stolen bases, mid-pack on homers, higher in RBI. Those are things that I want to put together on this offense. And yeah, I think it went pretty well.
Ryan's team, Ruiz at catcher, Freeman, Muncy, Bobby Witt Jr., Arenado, Mountcastle, McNeil, Marte, Buxton, Yelich, Hayes, India, the rotation, Nola, Wheeler, all the Phillies, Musgrove, love that. Actually, that's a really good 3 potentially. Logan Webb, Severino, love those 2 also. Grayson Rodriguez, Sewald, Detmers, Flaherty, Bohm, Gallegos, Rogers, Alvarez on the bench. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, first of all, I'm going to be investing heavily in a medical staff because there are a lot of injury risks on that roster, but there's also a lot of upside there. I'm pretty happy with it. I wish I had more power, but I do like that I have a lot of guys that can contribute in power, even if there's not like the obvious guy who's going to go out there and hit 40 bombs or anything like that. I like that the software says I had 0 reaches. I had 3 steals. That was Severino, Bohm, and Hayes. No reaches for me there. I'm pretty good in runs, stolen base average, and wins. My pitching, really just the big hole to me is the relief pitching, which I kind of knew that, throughout the draft, right? It became obvious very early on that was going to be a weak point for me, but I really like the hitters. I think I'm ranked 2nd among hitters overall in this draft and 6th at pitching, which I'm happy with. I think this is a team that you can, the draft is just step 1, right? I think I can work with this team and have a good season.
Make sure you keep Deepak Chona on your speed dial, though. That's the one thing for all those injuries. Let's go to my team. Danny Jansen at catcher, Goldie at first, Ozzy Albies at second, Lindor, Ty France, Cassis and Abrams in the corner spots and middle infield. Then Julio Rodriguez, Stanton, Nimmo, Haniger, JD Martinez. I like the offense, but I love the pitching. Bieber, Fried, Darvish, Glasnow, Cortez, Kirby, Lopez, Fairbanks, and Leclerc. And then Mundesi, Floro, Steele, and Mervis on the bench. Love the pitching. Like, I'll be honest with you, I like the offense too. I think this is a good team. I would like to have a better third baseman. Arenado lasted longer than he should have. But who do you think has the best team? Maybe you disagree when I hear from you over in the YouTube comments. So maybe you agree. Maybe it is the Welsh. So make sure you hit those YouTube comments. Again, Fantasy Pros MLB. We've got amazing coverage coming up. Join our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. Go get your mock draft on fantasypros.com/draftwizard or download the app and start preparing today. Again, the multi-user drafts are open. The draft simulator is open. Start getting prepared for baseball. We got short form videos. We got more mock drafts. We got podcasts. We got guests. We've got leading off starting in just a few weeks. Unbelievable times. What a time to be alive. So hopefully you're here for all of that. But you can only do that over on our YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros MLB. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Worm and the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Fantasy Pros.